Well, it's time to learn all about the Pinewood Derby. And what I've got here, what I want you to do is maybe pause this video for a second while you open up the rules so you can follow along with what I'm saying. And so we're talking about the Pinewood Derby, and you guys have known about this for a little while. I'm going to explain things because this is one of those things we need to talk about. So first of all, Pinewood Derby, you will be getting a block like this. It's got two grooves in it. This would be the front of your car. This would be the back of your car. Your kit will also include 4 standard wheels and 4 of these nail type axles. In case you don't know, the nail slides into the wheel like so. And I don't want to ruin this block for my kid. It's one of theirs, but it's going to slide into that groove and you got yourself your 4 wheels. Let's talk rules. There will be single class competitions. So each of your classes will have the opportunity to race against each other, and then we'll have sort of a grand championship between all of my classes. Every car gets to run in 4 trials. You'll pit you guys against each other, and every car gets to run in all 4 lanes. For fairness sake, in case, one lane people think is faster or something, every car gets to run in that lane. The best time for each car will be used for ranking, so it doesn't matter which run is your best, that's just your best. The top 4 cars will face off in a class finals, where the best run for those finals will be used for placing. There may be some additional design-related awards. Some people like their cars to be pretty. Some people want their cars to be fancy. I care that they're fast. That's my goal, but maybe you want to have a pretty fancy car. Whatever. That's your choice. Let's talk about more rules. Each class will be provided enough kits to have 10 groups. I'm saying 10 is a rough number. I'm going to divide groups out according to what I figure is your normal work group combinations. If individuals wish to compete solo because for whatever reason you don't want to work with those people, then a standard kit may be purchased at the store and shown to me before construction. Just you show up and say, "Hey, Mr. Wolf, I got this one." And I'll say, "Okay, that's fine." Your kit comes with, like I showed you, the block, the 4 wheels, and 4 nail axles. I plan to give you what I consider to be adequate time to build these cars. However, some teams may elect to work on them outside of class to fine-tune them to make them faster. Students are allowed to get modifications for their cars, such as weights and replacement parts and decorations, but the body must be constructed of the original pine block or an approved replacement. Heaven forbid you're working and you cut it terribly and it's just ruined and you need to get another one. If that happens, you got to show it to me. Okay, some rules. So these rules will govern our competition. If you don't follow them, I will disqualify you. And I have the biggest rule of the whole competition. If I see it necessary to make a new rule, I will. For the integrity of the event, I won't just pick on somebody. General rules. You are not allowed to use a pre-manufactured car. Your car must be made by you for this event. Second rule, no cars from past derbies. You must make it for this derby. Each car must be inspected before the race. Most likely those inspections will happen on a day prior to the race. And we will make sure that you meet all the criteria. Your car isn't too heavy or any of that. Once your car passes inspection, it can only be touched by the race crew if you lose a wheel or it's damaged or it doesn't finish the trial, and then only under the supervision of the officials. If your car leaves the lane during the trial, the lane will be inspected for flaws and the crew may inspect and repair the car. If the team may only modify their car between time trials if the car fails to complete the previous race. The car must be ready for the next trial or be scratched from the field of 4 and will not get to run that trial. Now, I'm not saying you won't get to run the whole competition, but at least for that one trial, you're out. If a car somehow interferes with another car, the trial will be rerun. If the interfering car causes a similar issue again, I guess I need to add that in there, again, it will be disqualified for the trial. Dimensions. Cars may not exceed 5 ounces. That's a biggie. And I'm going to give you a spoiler. You want it to be as close to 5 ounces as possible. As measured by my scale, I will have an official scale. Cars may not exceed the length of 7 inches. These blocks are intended to come to you at 7 inches. Cars may not exceed a width of 2.75 inches. So that should be the car with the wheels for the most part and be good to go. Oh, here I was holding that, not pointing at it. It should be the car and the wheels basically will be your 2.75. That keeps you in your lane. Cars must have 1.75 inches of clearance between the wheels. That's here between the wheels. A maximum height of 4 inches. So that you can definitely get your car through the timer gate. And then, oh, I missed one. Cars must have a ground clearance of 3/8 of an inch so the car does not rub on the track. You may not have anything that protrudes out the front of the nose. Wherever the beginning of your car is with the nose is the beginning of the car. You can't have like a jousting rod sticking out the front to try to trigger the time gate. The front of the car needs to have a 1/2 inch of wood in the front to hit the starting post. Our starting post is a little bolt that sticks up, like your finger sticking up out of the track, and your car has to rest on that, and then we fold it down, and they go. And then the distance between the axle slots must remain 4 3/4 inches, so you don't want to change that distance right there. Other material questions. Cars must be constructed out of the official pine block, either supplied by Mr. Wolf or one purchased on your own and approved by Mr. Wolf. Axles must be nail type, so these naily dudes. Axles must be placed within the original axle grooves. Wheels must be of the original radius. So we'll put a caliper on here. We'll measure the original radius or diameter, however you want to look at it, of these wheels, and that's the width of the wheel that we are going with. You're not allowed to use bigger wheels, you're not allowed to use smaller wheels, but there's a lot of things I'm not saying right there that you can do. Wheel covers or hubcaps are prohibited. The head of the nail must be viewable upon inspection, so when you got your nail inside there, I gotta be able to see that's the nail, that we have an approved thing. Wheel bearings, washers, and bushings are prohibited. The car shall not ride on springs, and details such as steering wheels, drivers, decals, and lighting and other decorations are allowed so long as you meet the size requirements. Functionality. Cars must be gravity powered. No motors, no engines of any kind. Graphite powder is the only lubricant allowed. I will have tubes of this stuff, graphite powder, around. If you want to get your own, that's your business, but I will have that around. No liquid lubricants. If I suspect you have liquid lubricant on your car, we'll just shoot some graphite in there and it gums up, and your car will be very unhappy with you. No wet paint, wet glue, or anything else at the time of registration. It should not be sticky or tacky to the touch. This rule exists because there is a cheat you can do where you put sticky stuff on the nose of the car. So we won't be doing that. And then no car will be permitted to race if parts are made to intentionally come off during the race or affect another car. So you can't go BattleBot style and attack the other cars. Scoring. Oh, it's not a touchscreen. Scoring. 16-point assignment. There will also be a report. Your car hits the size requirements, 4. Your car successfully completes each time trial, 4. Well, for 1 point each for successfully completing the trials. Now, for each time trial, we're going to work with these things called race coins. And I developed this system. Imagine you're playing Mario Kart, and for getting first place, obviously you get more. For getting fourth place, you get less. But you're doing 4 runs, so you could add up. You could end up fourth for 4 times and end up with only 4 of them. You could go fourth for 4 times and end up with 16 of them. I'm sorry, first 4 times and end up with 16 of them, and you can end up combined. For example, last year, both of my girls had 2 firsts and 2 seconds. So they would have ended up with 4 and 4 and 3 and 3, 8 and 3. They would end up with 14 of them in their derby. Cars advancing to class finals will accumulate more race coins during the finals. And then it's just one more set of it for finishing, not the trials. But just in the end, if you end up first, second, third, or fourth, you get more race coins. And then here's where you look at your coinage. 0 to 4, you get a coin for each one of those. And the only way you don't get 4 there is if you don't finish the races. And I have seen cars with the Girl Scouts that just simply don't finish. They just stop. So make sure your car isn't like that, huh? And then you can see the more you accumulate, the more you can get. And yes, if you make it to the finals, it's possible you could get up into the bonus right here with 9 and 10 points. At the end, there will be a grand championship. And I will essentially invite the top 2 cars from each class to compete in this grand championship. If one car can't participate, maybe it blew up in the last run and it had a good time, so it scored, but it just can't go any longer, well, then maybe we'll ask the 3rd car to join us. There'll be all new timing. We'll try to do it in a convenient time, and then we'll be putting some cars on display. So these are the rules. These are the rules of the race, but then there's other stuff. When it comes to weight, I'm going to tell you, weight's important. You want to be as close to 5 ounces as possible. And you could do this in an extremely cheap way. You can do it in an expensive way. This year, for my kids' Pinewood Derby, we bought these weights right here. They're tungsten. They're expensive. Well, I mean, they're a little bit expensive. But they're dense. That's why they're really good. You want to put nuts and bolts in your car for weight, that's fine. If you want to use a stack of pennies for your weights, that's fine too. It's just obviously the more dense the metal you use, the less space it takes up to get the weight you need. Also, I know that we will get some just stock metal bars that you can use. They won't be fancy, but they'll be relatively cheap, if not free. And so that's something you can use if you don't have the resources to get things. So when it comes to design, you're only going to get to cut this thing, one time through. So you really need to plan what shape you want to do. I'm going to make you a small guarantee. If you don't cut it at all, you will have the worst car there. Pure and simple. You plan out your cuts. We'll go next door to the shop and we'll do some things. Or you can do it by hand on your own. That's your choice. But I will have tools and options available to you. And if you have questions about how to do modifications for your car, please ask me. I'll tell you things you can do, things that are capable in the wood shop, and things that you're going to spend time on. Things like sanding take some time. But you're about to do some research anyway into how to make your car fast, and then you're going to come up with a design. It's going to be awesome. All right? Peace.